Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Joseph Fridley's Plot Points. Today, I'd actually like to do something a little different and do a segment that I'd like to call Past Rewind. And so, with Past Rewind, I want to look at a movie that has come out that maybe didn't do so well or wasn't very well regarded, and discuss that how the plot could be changed to make the film stand out. Again, these are just my ideas. There's no credence to them. There's no way of seeing them actually come into action. And some of the films I might mention when I do these segments have many overarching problems, both that we see as the viewer and probably behind the scenes, that even fixing the plot won't fix the film. But with reboots and remasters and all the other re's coming out, I think there's an opportunity for some of these ideas to be taken into consideration in order to make a new film. Now, the one I want to talk about today is X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, the film came out with some controversy in that it was released online without all its VFX reels, and as a result, it started getting some, I want to say, negative press. And then when the actual film did come out, it still lacked that spit and polish, and overall didn't seem to really hold up to the expectations that were being instilled in the viewer. I remember reading an article from Hugh Jackman explaining how basically Wolverine, you'll come to realize, is maybe more of a part of what happened to him than you realize, and it's his choice. And so going into, I thought, well, he's going to make a choice at some point that leads to him losing his memory and becoming Weapon X, whether that's what he wanted or not. But that's not what we got. I think we got a tropey action film with all the usual takeaways: walking away from a cheap explosion, claws that look worse than the original X-Men films, and overall, what Fox likes to do with their X-Men films is create a timeline that doesn't really match up. I mean, if you want to think about it in realistic terms, the film was so badly regarded that they erased it when they did the most recent X-Men Days of Future Past. That's here nor there. Let's look at a couple things that I think could help the film change. Now, if you played the Wolverine game that came out around the same time as the film, you get more of a well-polished plot point that fills in a lot of the gaps that the movie leaves out. And overall, I do like the game. The game was fun to play. It had a lot of cool little special features, such as Wolverine's skin growing back. And as far as the plot went, you got a lot more bang for your buck with regards to the Blob, Gambit, and even Ghost, if I'm getting his name right. I apologize if I'm not. But overall, you got more. You got to see where the parents of Nightcrawler originated in this universe. And those extra pieces overall, I thought, made for both an enjoyable game and helped support the movie a little bit. But it still doesn't work for me. I think what doesn't work is that you start out with Wolverine having as a child, and I hate seeing characters as children sometimes. It leads for some awkward filmmaking. You have some great child actors, especially if you watch Stranger Things. But sometimes if the scene comes off awkward or doesn't seem to match up thematically to the film, then it leaves this opening part of the film that just is so awkward and doesn't seem to really start out great. Now, what I did like to see was Sabretooth and Wolverine running through the various different battles that they've lived through, and along the way continuing to fight and fight and fight. I thought that's a good premise to start out. If you do want to start out with him being a sickly child, Wolverine that is, and then through his first murder growing into what he is today and triggering his mutation, I think that's fine, but I think that scene could have been polished up a little better. But that's just me. But I think starting there, going to the opening credits is fine. And even going into the attack on the facility where they want to get the adamantium is okay as well. However, that scene seems so short, so kind of underwhelming in scale. I mean, they're attacking this huge battle, and they basically just stand outside and wait for it to be over. And then you go into an elevator, and it's done. And then Wolverine quits because he doesn't like what's happening, but it really doesn't lead to a whole lot of feasibility of why he's even quitting. The game explains more often. I mean, he's in a huge battle, he's trying to get back to his team, and there's some other concerns about the slaughter of women and children that he just doesn't agree with. But from what I remember, you don't get that full scale. Now, you do get to see Wade Wilson, Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson in action, which is great. I would definitely keep that. That's what led to us getting a full Deadpool movie finally. That was fantastic. But going back, going from there into where he leaves the Weapon X program, ends up joining a logging company, I guess, living by himself with his girlfriend or what have you, who we later learn is a mutant. I think you have some good pieces there, but also some pieces that could be more impactful if you left them alone. And this is what I mean here. This is where the crux of my looking back at the movie, what if you change this little piece, I think could lead to a better film overall. And hopefully no adamantium bullets, because, yeah. Now, as we know in the film, Sabretooth is on a rampage, according to Stryker. And so Stryker meets with Wolverine and says, hey, you can come back, but I want to make you aware, etc. And we get some footage, I believe, of Sabretooth going after other mutants, but we really don't know what he's doing. He kills some of the other Weapon X team members. But overall, it comes down to a final battle between Sabretooth and Wolverine. Now, the special effects of this scene could be improved upon, of course, but overall, it's a decent battle for what we get. Very quick, bar fight, raw. I love Liv Schreiber as Sabretooth. Hugh Jackman still shines as Wolverine. And I love that kind of close, backwoods feel of the fight. Now, what this does lead to, of course, is eventually in the film, Wolverine's girlfriend is killed by Sabretooth, supposedly, which leads Wolverine with a desire to become a stronger individual. And again, I might have my scenes mixed up, but that's what leads him to wanting to get the adamantium skeleton infused in his bones. And later in the film, he finally loses his memory when he gets shot in the head with an adamantium bullet. It's just stupid, okay? An adamantium bullet is just stupid. It's one of the things the writer said, this would be cool, right? Oh yeah, this would be awesome. And they put it on page and they filmed it, and no one at any point said, this is a bad idea. I'd love to see those production notes. But I still gotta give, support to filmmakers. It's a hard job, definitely not an easy job. Producer, filmmakers, editor, all the way around. But let's rewind a little bit. Instead of having Sabretooth kill his girlfriend and then show up later that she's still alive and this is all a trick to get Wolverine back into the fight, I think a better plan would have Wolverine kill Sabretooth or think he's killed Sabretooth. And what I mean here is have Sabretooth legitimately kill Wolverine's girlfriend. She doesn't necessarily need to be a mutant. She doesn't need to have some sort of enhanced ability or need to even have any connection, anything aside from just being his love interest and the person that sees the humanity in him. And especially after all the wars and confrontations that he's been through, the violence he has both caused and been a part of, having him connect with this character in a way that revives his humanity is really what he's looking for. He's hiding, but he's also learning to be back in touch with himself, the person maybe that he always desired to be or wanted to escape to. And when Sabretooth kills her, it takes that away. I think that's where we need to see Wolverine go into overall rage mode, go feral, fight Sabretooth, and think that he has killed Sabretooth, possibly by cutting off his head, or even recreating a scene with the train, where he holds the head down and you see the train come up, and then you think Sabretooth is dead, gone, whatever, and that's it. And I think that's where Stryker needs to approach Wolverine, express his condolences for the death of Wolverine's girlfriend. But then from there, I think that's where we get to an interesting plot point. And what I mean here is Stryker offers to help Wolverine forget. And I think that's where it would be interesting to see Wolverine say, I can't deal with these memories, I can't deal with this life, I can't die, or he has this will to go on, and so he volunteers for the Weapon X program. And what we see is him go through that classic scene that we've already seen in X2, where he gets the adamantium put into his body, he wakes up, and he goes berserk. The difference being here, this would be what caused him to lose his memory. We then have Wolverine running from the facility, running out into the wilderness, and trying to get away from these people that are after him. From there, the rest of the movie would be Wolverine trying to piece back together what happened. We, as the viewer, know what happened. Wolverine does not. And what I think the full turnaround would come is as Wolverine starts having flashes of memory to his Weapon X cronies and starts looking for them, such as the Blob, and starts trying to put things back together, that's where he ends up coming full circle back to Weapon X to stop running, to put them down, and to put an end to this. And I think that's where you could have had him find out that Sabretooth is alive, but have no real memory of Sabretooth, which could lead to some anger within Sabretooth's part. I mean, what we saw with Liv Schreiber is he still had a feelings for his brother, a kindred spirit, but knowing that his brother has no memory or connection to him, I think would be kind of that final piece that sends Sabretooth over the edge. And then you get a battle between Sabretooth and Wolverine fighting and bringing people down, and leaving with your final confrontation with Deadpool. Now, with the Deadpool fight, they try to do so much, and the biggest flaw, of course, is making him silent. A smarter flaw would have been if Deadpool ripped out the swords out of his arms and cut his mouth open and started talking like his normal self, and even made a makeshift mask for himself after seeing what it had done to him, but decides to kill Wolverine because he blames him or feels he's a part of it, or his programming is still in place. I mean, overall, I think this scene could be all out chaos, with the different Weapon X survivors fighting off against one another, while also killing the different Weapon X soldiers because they're just tired of it. They want freedom. But there's also that anger and rage at each other. And as the walls come crumbling down and the dust settles, I think what you could lead off with is Wolverine walking away, not knowing what to do next. Deadpool picking up his severed head. And Sabretooth, who's been separated from Wolverine, being approached by Stryker, who, though damaged, has managed to survive. And Sabretooth cornering and saying, "I want you to give me what you gave him," and then making a deal. And the reason I mention this is because that would lead into why we see a bigger, badder Sabretooth and later in the X-Men 1 film, who seems to recognize Wolverine but also doesn't seem to recognize him. It would connect those pieces together. And so that's my idea for how they could have improved upon Wolverine in this past rewind. Alright, thank you for watching. Please leave your comments down below. Bye.